Hey everybody, this is Andrew Connell, and I wanted to drop in and just talk a little bit about a workshop that I'm doing at the SharePoint Fest conference in Seattle coming up in August of this year. I've got a full day workshop that's really intended for those of you who want to learn the SharePoint framework. In the past, I've done other workshops related to the SharePoint framework that I used to call Mastering the SharePoint Framework, and it kind of made some people think that they were, had to be have a little experience coming into it to learn the SharePoint framework in that workshop, and that's really not the case. This workshop is WRK 102, and it's called Developers Learn How to Use the SharePoint Framework to Customize and Extend SharePoint. Now, the idea here behind this is that I really want people who are web developers who have no experience with the SharePoint framework or just a little bit of experience. I want you to join me because the idea here is to spend an entire day so that you can understand first, what is the SharePoint framework, what problem is it there to solve, and does it apply to your environment? And then we'll move on to how to get your developer workstation up and running to use the SharePoint framework. We're going to go through a bunch of different things, from creating web parts to creating different types of extensions, data access, all kinds of stuff. We're going to cover a lot of things. And everybody that attends the workshop, you're going to get all my slides, you're going to get all the code demos that I'm going to do. In fact, I put a lot more content into this workshop than I'm going to be able to get throughout the day. And so based on the people who show up in the room, I'm going to find out like what the lowest common denominator is or what things people do know and don't know already so that I can focus on covering the things that people don't know. But what that means is we may run out of time and I may not be able to get to everything that I could possibly show. But hey, when you come to the workshop, you're going to be able to walk away with all the code samples that I'm going to do throughout the entire workshop, as well as grab my slides. It's a lot of fun. I've even spent a lot of time recently with talking to previous attendees of this workshop to make sure that we covered things that or added things to the workshop that they had not already done or they had wished that they had seen. And then I also have cut some stuff out of the workshop recently that people aren't really as interested in seeing. So I hope you decide to join me for a full day of SharePoint Framework. I make myself as accessible as we can at the conference, both during the workshop and after the workshop if you've got any additional questions. So if you want to learn the SharePoint Framework, I'm your guy at SharePoint Fest. So I hope you join me for the pre-conference workshop on WRK 102, Developers Learn How to Use the SharePoint Framework to Customize and Extend SharePoint. I got to look off to the side to make sure I get the title right. See you in Seattle.